Welcome everyone to the next episode of the Sugarcane Podcast with me, Rudy, and Sheldon.
Hey, I'm Sheldon.
We're back at it. We got more things to discuss today because I think the next step in crypto is, once you kind of understand it, as Sheldon explained to me last week, how it all works and kind of what the blockchain's doing in the back end and the scenes behind everything. So today I'm like, all right, it's time to buy crypto. So easily set up a Coinbase account or whatever exchange you want to use, typically a centralized exchange. But now that I have crypto, now I bought some Ethereum, I bought some Bitcoin, and now I'm looking at these people telling me, oh, you should move your crypto to MetaMask and start using these different protocols and getting NFTs. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it out. But Sheldon, I'm looking at these wallets. There's so many different types of wallets: MetaMask, Frame, even Coinbase has their own wallet. There's too many. I don't know what they're all doing. Mobile wallets, web wallets. Why? Why so many? And what's going on with them?
Yeah. So basically, the idea is that take us a quick step back. So MetaMask, you can come in the browser, so browser extension, or you can download the actual mobile app itself. And the idea is that what it does, it spins up an address on the blockchain for you, right? So you now have an address that you can both send crypto from, that you actually have the keys to send the crypto from it, and then you can receive crypto to that address. You can think of it as an email address, right? And so when you actually go through Coinbase and you buy the Ethereum on there or any other token, like crypto token, you can then go through Coinbase and actually click to send to a particular address. And if you look at MetaMask, you can click on MetaMask and drop down, or it's your mobile app. It gives you a 40-digit kind of hexadecimal number that you can then send from Coinbase to yourself, which is the MetaMask wallet.
That makes sense, but does MetaMask control it? How do they?
No, so yeah, that's a great question. Great question. So MetaMask itself, the organization, the company, does not control the actual wallet that's on your computer. That's now a wallet that's stuck to your computer that stored the keys locally on your device. There's no company that is actually controlling the assets that gets into that particular plugin or actual mobile app.
So that's why they're so strict on making sure you save your recovery phrase and writing that phrase down and storing it somewhere safe.
Yeah, because the things are that those I think it's 12 words that you get. Those are really the way you can generate your wallet again. And if you don't write that down or save it somewhere, there's no way that you can actually get your assets back right now, without putting those floors in. Yeah, it's pretty intense for now.
So is it one wallet that I'll have with MetaMask? Do I have to how do I get more wallets? And what's the recovery phrase do with all those wallets?
So technically speaking, the actual words that you get, they generate a private key and public key pair. So kind of take away the technical language of that. It basically generates a generator of wallets, right? Based on some private key, some key that you own. And so you can always spin up more addresses on the blockchain from that private key that you have and control all those different addresses. You don't necessarily need to have multiple different browsers or multiple different extensions to get different wallets. The actual MetaMask itself plugin can create more for you. But for the general consumer, they literally just they only think of they only have one wallet in their MetaMask, which is pretty simple and pretty easy to understand to start.
Yeah. And now once I move my Ethereum to MetaMask, because it doesn't work with Bitcoin, right? It's just, you need a separate wallet for that one?
Yeah, because it's separate blockchains altogether, right? So Bitcoin, the blockchain, has Bitcoin, the asset, the actual token that's moving on the Bitcoin blockchain, that's used in the Bitcoin blockchain to pay for gas or do things on the Bitcoin blockchain. And then Ethereum, which is another blockchain, completely separate system that has Ethereum, and it also has the ability to program and create more tokens and more assets. So if you think of other assets there that you've heard of, they're most likely on the Ethereum blockchain and not the actual Bitcoin blockchain, because Bitcoin does not have smart contracts, which enable you to actually create more tokens and other more complex types of financial instruments.
Gotcha. All right. That makes sense. And obviously 2 different credit cards don't really work together either. So MasterCard and Visa, they don't really share that much information. You have to kind of use MasterCard or Visa. And if it's accepted there, then it's accepted. If it's not, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I got Ethereum on Coinbase. I bought it there. I have a MetaMask wallet now. I generated my private key. Well, my public key. That's what I send it to.
For sure.
And I send some Ethereum on it. And now I'm like, all right, I want to buy an NFT that my friend made because I just like their artwork. And they have it hosted on OpenSea. But it's asking me to like confirm using OpenSea even though my wallet is already connected to OpenSea. That's
Yeah.
kind of confusing. So why is there so many steps?
Yeah, so I guess to give a bit of context for people who don't know, so OpenSea itself is a NFT marketplace, right? So for people who are creating different type of digital collectibles, they can put it on this marketplace, kind of like an eBay or Amazon, where you can put like a storefront. You can sell your NFTs there. And so for your friend who basically created the NFT, he created a 10,000 collection of whatever of let's say koala bears, right? He can put those koala bears up for sale on that storefront. And for you who's coming in to actually use it, you have your MetaMask, shiny new MetaMask you just downloaded from the Google Play Store on your Android or iOS store. You went to his OpenSea website storefront and you clicked on the actual NFTs you want to buy. What's going to happen there is that you have to do two things. One is approve from OpenSea itself to actually move the assets for you. So basically, they have to be like allowed to say, "Hey, I can take money from your MetaMask wallet and give you the NFT." And the second thing is actually you have to then approve for the actual transaction itself to go through. So the first part of it is just giving permission for OpenSea to say, "Hey, we're allowed to transact with you and like move the money for you." And the second thing is actually moving the assets itself. So like if you want to buy the koala bear for an ETH, right? You can send the ETH to Coinbase or to OpenSea, and then they send you the asset, the NFT, back to you.
Okay, that makes sense. And then
There's a lot of steps in there. I know it's pretty complicated.
it's a lot of steps, but it's kind of making sense now because I always see like people trying to be cautious of websites or fake domains or fake OpenSea websites because of that part where you said that I have to approve and allow OpenSea to interact with my wallet, my MetaMask wallet.
Yeah.
So what happens if I connect it to like a malicious site, like some fake website that pretended to be OpenSea?
Yeah. I mean, so what happened back in like 2021 is when there's a huge like NFT craze, and a lot of people are creating different NFTs. There's a lot of like fake websites that came out to basically scam people, right? And so what the scam kind of attack vector was is that they created a website that looked just like OpenSea or just like a common NFT marketplace. And people who were unsuspecting, they approved for their wallet to be connected to that website. And they approved that website to basically move all their assets, right? Move everything that I own in my actual MetaMask wallet. And for someone who doesn't actually know what's going on, they basically just signed away all of the assets, all of their things that they're saved in that MetaMask wallet. So now the actual malicious actor can basically take control of all the assets, which is a bad thing in the crypto space because the user experience is pretty bad right now. But like that's improving, that's getting better. Like the actual verification of things are getting a lot better, and like that's a lot. It's a bit harder now to do that, but it's still fairly common, as sad as to say.
That makes me think about it. So it sounds like I shouldn't put all my funds into like a different wallet that I am planning to interact with these different protocols.
Yeah, so for pretty like ones that you believe in a lot, like you trust, like for example, an OpenSea or Coinbase or like Etherscan is also another place where people approve typically. People tend to be okay with approving on their main wallet. But for places that you haven't heard of or they're new, they just came out, there's a hot NFT collection that came out on Twitter. People should basically set up a different wallet that they have in their MetaMask extension or mobile app and use that as like a test case just to be safe, just because you never really know what you're interacting with. And so you never want to be in the situation where like you use your main one and like you approve it and you get caught up in the scam. Just kind of like good practices that people have learned over time.
It sounds scarier than it really is, I feel like, because
For sure.
like anything else, there's a lot going on the back end of any internet interaction that you do.
Yeah.
The user experience just made it much easier. And I think like that's what you're working on is making the user experience easy for people to interact with like lending. So like Uniswap is a great place that has a decentralized exchange where you can interact with anything that's available on Ethereum.
Yeah.
But that's also that's also something where you have to take a step into allowing to use your wallet with, and then you can use your wallet in Uniswap to swap out Ethereum with any other token in the Ethereum space.
I don't want to sound like a doomer because it seems like we're like bashing all the user experience of it all, but like at the end of the day, like there are certain like new things that people tend to like need to pick up as they're getting involved in the crypto space. And so I think it's good just to like at least highlight some of the ways that people have been scammed before and actually like here's ways that you can avoid
this is
that.
safety 101. Tell us like this is the most important thing. It's money. We don't have we don't have a I mean, we have a good way of keeping our funds safe nowadays, but what is a safety 101? Because I see scams all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like the first and foremost is that like I'd say double, triple check the places that you're interacting with. Like make sure you look at the actual user, the address, and make sure that's something that you recognize and it's not like something you haven't heard of before. Just because like also common thing that people do is that they would, again, in the same case where they're creating fake websites of another platform, they also try to create different Twitter accounts that makes it look like you're coming from the real one. And they post the links there of like their fake site. And so definitely make sure if you're finding things on Twitter to be much more cautious as like you're not clicking on random stuff.
It's like one of the, if anyone's, I guess if anyone's been in the corporate company lately, it's like those training seminars they make you do. Like, make sure you watch out for phishing emails. If you get an email from the CEO asking for your personal number, or they have a favor for you to do, it's most likely a scam. So it's pretty like, it's just like that, folks. It's like what you pretty much learn at work as like a safety seminar. It's actually a very similar idea of crypto. Just be careful what you're looking at. Make sure the URL is legitimate. Don't trust the internet plainly. You have to make sure it's from the correct source. That's like a general rule of thumb. Don't ever just trust the internet plainly.
Just pick a random link.
No, don't ever do. But the thing is, like, I don't even fully type in URLs in the search. Like, I search for things. Like I search for Reddit, or I search for Twitter to go on Twitter. I'm like, why am I doing this? I know it's twitter.com, but I don't know why I'm searching for it to click it.
I mean, it's a matter of like user experience, right? Like at the end of the day, it is like incumbent on developers and the like people who are building in the space to make this whole thing easier. And that's definitely getting better, right? Like again, in the case of Sugarcane, for example, like DeFi itself and accessing different like financial products across the crypto ecosystem, it's still pretty clunky, right? You have to go to the actual website. You have to basically connect your MetaMask to a new website every single time. You have to even like figure out their own unique interactions there. And what you see with like, for example, with like Robinhood, right? They made that whole user experience of accessing options or stocks or ETFs very easy. And that's what brought a whole new people who didn't have access to options or stock trading in a simple interface. And so that's kind of things we're trying to do for like crypto, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different DeFi ecosystem applications. How do we then bring kind of uniform, standardized interface and interaction with those different products? So you don't have to reconnect every single time, and also have your keys and like the actual assets that you're storing kind of monitored for you. So you get text message alerts. That's also not something that's currently in the crypto space, but like being able to notify you if something changes or make the whole interface and interactions easier. But again, like that'll just like those interactions are things we're building at Sugarcane, and I think will come to a lot of other parts in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's like the thing too, is when you connect to so many different protocols, OpenSea, Uniswap, like Matcha is another one, and it kind of never ends. Like if you want to interact with a different token, that's how you do it. But then what happens if one of those projects or tokens get hacked? Like, how do we know the smart contract that we're interacting with is safe? And if it becomes attacked, what happens to our funds? Is that safe?
Yeah. I mean, again, not to get in like a doomer sense, like in anything that you're interacting with, there's a risk there. But I do believe that like people will not need to actually ever think about smart contracts like going forward, right? The general consumer doesn't need to actually have to, hey, I have to look at this 40 character hexadecimal number. I have to think about my addresses. I have to think about my chains. I have to think about all this gas. Like the reality is that like while those are nice to be at the base level, I just don't think the general consumer is gonna have to actually care about that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the level of like safety is also gonna rise too, right? You're gonna have to actually start having like insurance funds or insurance that is able to back up your assets in the event of a hack, right? But right now that's not a thing. That's not something that people actually currently have access to.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting development going on. And like,
For sure.
also I've been noticing too, with different wallets, they actually have like transaction limits. So say if you have, I don't know, 10 ETH in a wallet, you can actually limit the smart contract to only allow an interaction with zero point 0.1 ETH if that's what you're using.
Yeah.
And that way it's a good barrier to like keep your funds safe while also having all your funds with your account.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that one, like in the case of actually like your friend created the NFT collection, and you're using OpenSea as an application to buy that. What typically happens in that interaction is that you unsuspectingly, like a lot of people don't actually are aware of this, but they actually allow OpenSea to use and move all of their assets, like all of their ETH that they have. But what technically can happen is that you can actually set specific amounts, right? I can say if this NFT is costing, let's say 1 ETH, it's a very expensive NFT, but let's say that's the case. It costs 1 ETH. I can limit it instead of saying I want to transact and have OpenSea have access to everything. I only want OpenSea to have access to 1 ETH. So now I'm protected in the case that OpenSea gets hacked, like, and let's say, hopefully they don't, but like, let's say they do, you're only exposed for that 1 ETH you use to transact with the NFT and get your NFT back.
Ooh, gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And I guess for ease of use, they allow full access just so they don't have to keep reminding you or asking for why transactions aren't working. But yeah, so I guess to sum that up for like that's the Ethereum space of DeFi, NFTs, and different protocols working together and smart contracts interacting with each other. I know Bitcoin is like working its way there now. So if anyone's a Bitcoin fan, it's kind of getting there.
Bitcoin maxi.
Bitcoin maxis, I think, are there's like two sides. One's like not into it, the other side's kind of into it. So
yeah,
I'm excited for the collaboration. But I know there's plenty of other blockchains like Solana trying to do the same thing, and Polygon's kind of a mix between, an EVM compatible chain, but also its own chain, which we'll go into later episodes, everyone. This is like, we're slowly working our way up to like the progression of what it's like to interact with crypto. And this is just step 2, where we're learning about how to even buy crypto, and then what to do when you buy it, and how to stay safe in the DeFi crypto space of Ethereum. But yeah, like Sheldon, is there anything else
defining transactions?
Yeah.
What is a transaction? What is a blockchain?
Yeah. There's so much more. But next week is going to be a fun one too, because we're going to go deep into what's happening technically in the back end and how's everything proved. But yeah, thank you again, Sheldon, for explaining more stuff to me. I have a lot more questions next week. But if anyone else has questions, please let us know. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll do our best to explain it. See you, everyone.
That sounds good. See you.